Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Point C. Today we're going to talk about X-Men because
Yeah.
uh, Deadpool 3 is coming out July 26th, or Deadpool and Wolverine. It's called that.
Yes.
And we're going to watch all the Fox Marvel movies leading up until Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh man, I can't wait to get to Fantastic Four.
Me too. I love that movie.
Oh, well, I was thinking the one from 2013, was it?
Oh, you mean
That one.
Stick?
Yeah, that one. Anyways, we're not even close to that because we got to go all the way back to the year 2000. No, what happened in 2000?
They released X-Men because
Yes.
they saw the popularity of Blade, and they were like, "Oh, let's do a comic book movie." And also, it was because Stan Lee sold the film rights to a lot of his Marvel properties because Marvel was about to go bankrupt during that time. So that's why it was all split up between like Hulk got Universal, X-Men got Fox, and Spider-Man got Sony because Stan Lee was going bankrupt and he had to sell them. So there's a little bit of history for you right there.
Which is so funny to think about in the current state of Marvel, where it's one of the biggest fucking corporations. Like,
Yeah, and it's arguably because he sold the film rights.
exactly. Oh, 100%. But anyways, that's a discussion for another day. We get the X-Men coming straight in from 2000, and I'm going to be right honest with you. Over 20 years later, this film still holds up. I mean, it really sets the precedent. Now, you could make an argument for Blade. I haven't seen Blade, so I'm not going to argue for that. You could say you can make a very clear argument that X-Men really sets the foundation for what the next 5 years or so are going to look like in superhero films.
Well, yeah, and I mean, kind of just superhero
Exactly.
films in general, because it was the first PG-13 Marvel movie. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, if you don't count all those crappy like movies from like the '90s and stuff like that. But like Blade, it was rated R and it was very like dark and stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't even know it was Marvel. Like my girlfriend, she didn't even know Blade was Marvel until her brother told her.
Right.
She just thought it was like a fun vampire movie. But like the thing is, X-Men, it's like Kevin Feige actually was a producer on X-Men,
Really, I actually didn't know.
and that's where he started. Yeah, that's where he started, and then I think he was also a producer on the Spider-Man movies. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So so that's where he starts, and then that's pretty much why we have the MCU as well.
100%. And when I say to 2005, I mean it really sets the foundation for Sam Raimi. It really sets the foundation for the rest of the X-Men films that we're going to get in these next couple years. And am I forgetting? Oh, and Hulk, but I mean that whatever. But you have you have this real foundation that sets up that superhero movies are more than Superman 3, where people are coming to see a man in a costume. That's not why they're seeing a superhero film, and this film really sets that in precedent for an example. And once again, making it more for a general audience. We talked about Blade, how a lot of people didn't even know Blade was part of a Marvel, right? And it doesn't help that it's rated R in the 90s. I think it's a great property to start off like the real first superhero cinematic universe. I mean, we had Batman in the 90s and 80s, but that's different, But like, anyways, Noah, you are the X-Men guy, so I want you to start off a conversation about the film.
Okay, well, we just like the big message here is like seeing how people discovering their powers as mutants is like it disrupts their life. Like right now, I'm watching the movie and I'm seeing the scene with Rogue at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like she just all of a sudden her boyfriend starts like convulsing and starts like having like almost looks like a seizure
Yeah.
because she touched him.
Right.
And it's like very relatable for some people, I guess, because things like start to happen to them and they don't know what's happening, and it's like puberty,
Yeah, I would agree with that, and also just like the overall message of sort of like being yourself,
people
and
being
finding
different.
yourself. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that whole idea of diversity is really seen throughout this film. The whole idea of sort of like, look, we are all people at the end of the day. And this film really puts that in a great perspective, with everything going on, with being like, yes, you need to say that you are a superhero, right? You need to identify as a superhero. And I really think that in general, this film does a great job of really showing its message from the start to the end credits. I really feel that message is felt throughout.
Yeah, and it's also like not every mutant is gonna want to be an X-Man, want to be like a superhero,
right?
Like Professor X is like his point of view is like, hey, mutants, I want to show them that they can be part of society just like humans can. But Magneto's like, no, we need to burn the human society down. We need to make it our own society because we will never be able to learn to live among each other because there will always be like racism, basically. And while he's right, there's always going to be people who don't like mutants. It's way more ethical to go Professor X's route.
I agree. And first of all, the casting is incredible for this film. I don't want to get off on this,
yes.
But. I just thought about that kind of speech that Professor X gives, and oh man, the roles are just perfect, and I really think that the roles really help sort of provide that message of what this film was about to begin with. I really don't feel like the roles take away from the values of these films. I really feel like I'm watching an X-Men movie that has a message, and a really good message. And especially a message that resonates, and especially resonates for what the U.S. was about to go through the next year in 2001, right? I mean, the U.S. was about to have a giant identity crisis, and I really think that film, and I can only imagine watching this film in 2000, being 12, 13, or whatever, when this film came out. I bet it really resonated with so many people.
That's why it turned into a whole big thing.
Which is crazy because, over 20 years later, the final X-Men movie is coming out. Like the last, at least our speculations are like, yeah, this is the last one in the timeline. But the point is that it's been going on for 24 years and it's sort of coming to a close. It's absolutely crazy to see. I would just like to say it feels crazy that this film is 20 years old with just the amazing acting, the amazing set pieces. Nothing really feels... like when I look at this film, I don't go, wow, this was clearly made, it was made a long time ago. I don't think about that for a single moment throughout this film.
Obviously, some of the effects are noticeable, but you're going to get that in all the 2000s Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the elephant in the room. He's on the cover of every single X-Men movie that he's in. Wolverine.
Oh, dude. First of all, I will go first just because I know that you're about to go on a huge tangent. First of all, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, great casting. And he's especially good in this movie. I mean, and especially when you look at the cover of X-Men Origins and stuff, he just fits the role. He looks like Wolverine. And man, he does a really good job. From my perspective, as somebody that isn't the biggest X-Men guy, I haven't read the comics and stuff, I like X-Men, right? I think as somebody that likes X-Men, I think that Hugh Jackman does a really good job.
Okay, well, the factual truth is he's not very comic accurate, but I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. He's just he was my introduction to Wolverine as a kid. The first memory I have of any Marvel movie is his middle claw coming out in that one scene in the bar fight.
Oh, yeah.
When he's intimidating those guys with his claws, I remember seeing that middle claw come out. That effect that practical effect that they did with that.
Yeah.
He's been my favorite. Other him and Spider-Man. I didn't grow up with Tobey's movies. I wish I did, but I didn't. But Hugh Jackman Wolverine, he is my Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I know he's tall and Wolverine's short, and I know that he doesn't have that whole personality that Wolverine has, but it's close enough, and at the same time he has that screen presence. When he's in the movie, when he's on the screen, you're paying attention. I think he's a lot more Clint Eastwood than he is Wolverine.
Yeah.
But he's definitely he's Wolverine though. Kind of character that Clint Eastwood plays in all of his dollar trilogy movies, and
Yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, you can't watch the movie and not think that.
Yes, sir.
If you've seen those movies, of course.
Yes. Yeah. Which I mean, you know, especially for the time period, I feel like most people have. I feel like a lot of people our age haven't seen a lot of Clint Eastwood's work, but you know.
You want to talk about the fight scenes?
Oh yeah. Let's do it. You know, they're honestly solid. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not the best fight scenes I've ever seen, especially with films that we have nowadays that are better, but that's pretty unfair to compare them, right? I really do enjoy the fight scenes, but you can kind of tell at certain points that they're a little fuzzy, don't get me wrong, but you know, they're not bad by any means. It's not, I'm trying to think of what's a superhero film that has bad fight scenes?
How about the New Mutants?
Oh, ooh, yeah. Well, actually, what do you have to say about the fight scenes?
Oh well, I think that the one with Mystique and Wolverine was really cool, and which other one? The really quick one with Sabretooth. Just I just like Wolverine in the cold.
Yeah,
I think this is the only time we actually see him in the cold, if I'm not mistaken.
Villain wise, I think that the film is solid with the villains. I don't think. I especially think that in general, I don't know enough about X-Men villains, but I think that overall throughout this whole series, I don't have a villain that I don't like or that I'm like, this villain sucks.
Like Toad. What do you think of Toad?
You know what? Toad is probably number 2, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. What do you think?
My favorite is Magneto, and then second
obviously.
favorite it is probably Mystique, and then third is Sabretooth, and then fourth would be Toad.
For me,
And I feel like I'm missing one, but I don't think that Senator Kelly counts.
No. I would put Sabretooth at number 3 for me. I love Sabretooth though. Sabretooth is a really good villain.
Oh yeah, in the current comic run for Wolverine, yeah. I don't know, man. I'm the resident Marvel fan here on Point C.
True.
Why is Wolverine so immature about Jean and Scott?
I don't know, man. I think that it's also part of like we praised the movie for trying to be more than a superhero film, right? I think that's part of it, is sort of trying to make this a drama film at the same time. And sometimes that can be a great thing, but then at other times you can sort of do this thing where you're like, all right, we've created a drama environment, but it doesn't really fit the characters, and then it kind of comes off as cringe a little bit.
It fits, but I'm just talking about in general, like, he's so old and he's so mature. Why would he be immature about that?
well, that's what I mean. It's like it's like I think that's a product of the film trying to be more than just a comic book movie.
Yeah, and I mean, I watched a featurette with Hugh Jackman talking about it, and he's like, it's more than just like action driven. It's character driven. Like these X-Men movies, we want to do more character driven stuff.
Sure.
We want you to care about the characters more than the fight scenes that the characters have.
Right. And I think that especially in films, I can't believe I keep jumping back to it, but films like Logan, they do a great job of that, you know. And we're gonna talk, dude. I swear to God, the Logan video is gonna probably be like 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's gonna be long.
But yeah, I don't hate them trying to do things like that. I completely respect it. I just think that at times is that you can sort of make one or two scenes feel a little fucking ham-held, or you know that that we're forcing drama for no reason. I will put this at currently I would probably put it at an 8.5.
Wow, that's pretty high for you.
Yep, that is pretty high.
I mean, I grew up with this movie. You guys know it's just gonna be a 10.
Look, and it's like I said at the beginning, like this is clearly like one of the first attempts at a real comic book movie that wanted to be more than a one-off. You know, like it's not Tim Burton's Batman. It's clearly trying to set up what the future superhero films can be, and I really think that it does that. Is it the best? Absolutely fucking not in my opinion. But it doesn't mean that it's bad.
No.
It's definitely definitely a great film, and especially if you go in knowing that this is like one of the first attempts at like a real cinematic universe. It's a real good first attempt. And it really sets up the foundation of what's to come with this Raimi trilogy, with the MCU just a couple years later. Like, great films.
Yeah, and if you didn't know, they were actually trying to do a cinematic universe in the 2000s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Well, like Hugh Jackman, he was actually supposed to cameo in the first not Star Wars, Spider-Man movie.
Oh.
But the thing is that Fox wouldn't let Sony use the costume from X-Men. Wolverine barely ever wears his costume in the movies. But I mean, again, it was the first movie,
Absolutely.
and they probably maybe Fox wanted them to use the costume more often. But man, we could have gotten something really cool in Spider-Man 1.
It's just funny to see that these companies have been at each other's throats for over 20 fucking years at this point. They're still like, yeah, no, fuck you. Yeah, let's say you guys own every other Marvel thing. Yeah, fuck you. We're not giving up Spider-Man. Fuck you. We're making our own universe. Fuck you. They all suck. Fuck you. You know, it's this constant just fuck you between these companies. And we're really going to see that in a couple years when we get to the MCU films. And we have 3 universes going on at once. We have the MCU, we have the Fox universe, and then over here in the far fucking right corner, we have the Amazing Spider-Man going on. You know, it's ridiculous. Anyway, that's been our thoughts on X-Men from 2000. Crazy that film was 24 years old. Anyways, boys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tune in next week so you guys can hear our thoughts on X2. Can't wait. Anyways, hope that you guys enjoyed. Make sure that you like and subscribe. That way we can push this video to more people. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and peace.
This migraine that I feel